How to lose stubborn fat in 3 steps. Hi, Dr. Mike Diamonds, that's me. Over the past 4 years, in my pursuit to build muscle and lose fat, I've gotten better and better at dropping my overall body fat percentage, and more specifically, my stubborn fat. This year has been by far my best. I've dropped over 25 pounds and still have 12 weeks of my diet to go before I finally step on stage. And if I'm honest, I've done this before by applying these same 3 simple science-based principles to lose fat. But you've probably noticed that certain areas of your body get leaner faster than others. You've probably also noticed that some fat just refuses to go away no matter what you do. But why are these areas so stubborn? In a caloric deficit, your body releases hormones called catecholamines. Catecholamines stimulate lipolysis, the release of fatty acids out of adipose tissue to be utilized as a source of energy in a caloric deficit. Now, not all fat tissue are created equally. It all depends on the number of receptors on there. You have alpha receptors, which are responsible for hindering lipolysis, and you have beta receptors, which are responsible for stimulating lipolysis. The stubborn fat cells have a higher amount of alpha receptors which hinder it, and the ones that are readily utilized as a source of energy have a higher amount of beta receptors on that adipose tissue. It all depends on the ratio. However, in this video, we'll be talking about strategies that we'll be able to use to be able to get to those stubborn fat cells, and the second reason why it is so stubborn. But before we dive in, a lot of research and editing goes into making a video like this. Just do me one favor, if you wouldn't mind. Gently hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're new. Let's kick it off. Another reason why you tend to see that ab fat go last has to do with the subcutaneous blood flow to that region. It's significantly decreased compared to the other parts of your body. It's why in the beginning of a diet, you'll tend to see the weight go off from your arms, your face, and your back. So the advice I'll give you is stick to the diet and trust the process. And for myself, I've been at a diet for 3 to 4 months, and only now am I able to finally see my abs starting to pop off. So stick to the process. Let's kick it off. Step 1. The simple science dictates that your weight gain and weight loss is known as your energy balance. Energy balance is the relationship between the energy you feed your body and the energy it utilizes. As you probably know, this is often measured in kilocalories. You can also look at it this way. Every day, your body stores fat when you eat and burns fat when it runs out of food energy. Visually, it looks something like this. The green area represents lipogenesis, the metabolic formation of fat, occurring in response to a meal. The blue area represents lipolysis, the breakdown of fats, occurring in response to fasting between meals and during sleep. Over a 24-hour period, these will be balanced assuming you're not consuming more calories than you expend. Or the blue portions will be larger, burning fat if you're in a caloric deficit. To lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit consistently over time. My coach and 13 times world natural bodybuilding coach Cliff Wilson had this to say about losing stubborn fat.
First off, generally the more developed a muscle group is, it will look leaner. Because if you have a given amount of fat in a particular area, like if I hold more fat in my shoulders, which some people do, if I build more muscle in my shoulders, that same amount of body fat will be spread across a larger area. So you will look leaner. It's one of the reasons more muscular people tend to look leaner in general.
It ultimately boils down to fundamental principles: staying in a caloric deficit over an extended period of time, and how diligent you are at tracking your calories. On to the next point that Cliff mentioned, the more muscle you have in a particular area, the more that the fat is distributed across a larger surface area. This moves us into step 2, resistance training. Resistance training is the driving force to body recomposition, meaning it's easy to lose fat by using the diet alone, but nearly impossible to build muscle without training. Weight training is paramount to building muscle and improving body composition. The goal isn't to lose weight. It's to lose as much fat as possible and retaining or building as much muscle mass at the same time. Let's take your abs, for example, the area most people hold fat, and especially stubborn fat. The truth is, we all have a six-pack, also known as erectus abdominis. If you're watching this video, you fall in either one of these three problem scenarios. Scenario 1, you have a poorly developed six-pack. Scenario 2, you have a high body fat percentage and therefore you can't see them. And scenario 3, you're both at a high body fat percentage and have a poorly developed six-pack. The long-term approach is to having an amazing six-pack is to develop them, progressively overload them like you would your chest or your biceps. The more muscle tissue you have on your abs, the more you'll see them at a higher body fat percentage. This is why I tend to still have my abs even at higher than usual body fat percentages. In my experience, focusing on your compound exercises, your bench press, deadlift, squat, and overhead press gives you the biggest bang for your buck. This section could be an entire video series on its own. That's why I've built 4 different training splits in a PDF for you. It's a great place to start. All you have to do to get the PDF is like this video. Follow me on Instagram at MikeDiamonds23, send me a DM and you will get the link to the free PDF. Step 3, cardio. Cardio is a great tool for fat loss without getting too deep. High intensity interval training versus low intensity steady state cardio. The main goal is to burn more calories. My best advice is to simply start walking every day. Start walking 8,000 steps a day. The physical and mental benefits are life-changing. The following week or two, increase your steps over time, work your way to 13,000 steps, and increase your steps by 1,000 step increments. I've personally gotten to as much as 20,000 steps per day for competition. As you keep seeing progress with loss of your belly fat or any fat in general, you can control the rate of fat loss with either decreasing your calories or increasing your expenditure. In the PDF, I've left an example of walking goals over the span of a 16-week competition prep. The dark horse of fat loss, a truly underrated variable, is sleep. Countless studies have shown that you need to be sleeping at least 8 hours to be able to efficiently lose weight. In my own experience, when I was in medical school, this was much harder to achieve. Sleep 8 hours or at least get close to that. The second thing is keeping your stress levels very low. That will help you in terms of your overall journey. So those are the 2 things in terms of recovery, very underrated, but you need to do so consistently. Now, the Eric Helms pyramid. I'm sure you've seen this, I'm popping it on the screen. But as you can see, that supplements is at the very top. Energy balance, macronutrients, micronutrients, supplements at the top, but this does help me in terms of being able to reach this goal. I could have not done it without it to reach this goal personally. And this is all the supplements I take and why. It's very likely being in a caloric deficit over an extended period of time, you're going to be micronutrient deficient. I take Perform, which acts as a multivitamin for me, but it contains so many more things that I do enjoy, including the nootropics. You're going to be low on energy. You want to expend more, especially during your workouts to maintain muscle tissue. Pride, by far the best pre-workout I've had in my life. You need to be able to try and maintain as much muscle tissue as possible and hitting your macronutrients, which is protein. Having peanut butter puffs makes it so much easier. And finally, I take a Beyond BCAA during my workouts and during cardio. If you're interested in any of these, it's linked in the description. Using the discount code DIAMONDS10 does save you money and that supports me. And finally, when you're tracking, you need a scale. Otherwise, you're just guessing what you're putting into your body. So a scale will really help you. The scale with MyFitnessPal is going to help you in terms of making sure that you're not just guessing in terms of what you're putting in your body. Because you've watched till the very end, I'm gonna pick 2 people for coaching. All you have to do is like the video, comment below why you need it, honestly, and follow me on Instagram and leave your Instagram handle. So if you win, I can be able to DM you. Good luck, and thank you guys for all your support. I love you, and peace.